Hello, everyone. This is Ryan coming to you with Dayton.
Howdy.
We are DR Slots, and today we're going to do a little bit different video for those of you out there because we've heard a lot of. If you watch any videos online, you've heard a lot about different terminologies, and we wanted to give our take on them and explain them a little bit. We're going to discuss return to player and volatility and the differences and how each one might impact you. So Dayton's going to start it off to explain a little bit about what our return to player, or what we'll say probably refer to from here on out as RTP, and explain a little bit about what it is.
All right. Well, return to player is the percentage of money wagered and how much it will return to player. So, just to make the numbers easy, if you bet $100 and the return to player is 90%, then you will get $90 back on every $100 you play, and that is a
On an
set.
average.
Yeah, on average, that is set by the slot machine that you're playing, and you'll see the house edge, and that's the difference. So if 90% is return to player, the house edge would be 10%, and that's probably a pretty good base level for most casinos for slot machines. They'll be set depending upon the denom. Between 80 and 90, and you'll see sometimes as high as 90, 95% on some. So that is return to player in a nutshell.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good explanation. In different areas of the country or world, I guess, because this YouTube is global,
Right,
have different minimum requirements. So the laws in Atlantic City or New Jersey may be a little bit different than, let's say, Nevada, as
right.
to what the minimum can be for that return to player setting. It doesn't change a maximum, but it does change it. It could change the minimum.
Yeah, they can set it for
Mm.
98%. Oh, actually, there is some that I've read that you have to have it at a certain percentage win. So the house edge can be like 5% is the minimum they can set it at. They could set it at
Right.
20% and they're fine with it, but they have to set it at 5% house edge or 95% RDP. They can't set it at 98, and that was weird for me to realize.
Yeah, it's different now. It's interesting how different state laws impact it.
Hmm.
And then sort of the flip side of that, comes the volatility. And basically the volatility is sort of how the machine will return each individual bet. So a low volatility machine will give you wins more often, but and a high volatility might give wins less often, but can give much larger wins.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit different. So if you think about the pendulum swings where you might be playing a slot machine and might lose 40, 50 spins in a row, and then all of a sudden you hit for 30 or 40 or 50 bets. That's probably a high volatility machine.
right. Yeah,
Where
yeah,
if you're playing, let's say, an old style machine like a double diamond, you hit cherries right fairly regularly. They just don't pay a lot.
right.
So that would be what's considered a low volatility machine.
The one that you get a
And
lot of your bets back, but you don't hit big, that's going to be a low volatility machine.
right, or even on the video machines, partial bets back,
Right.
things like that. And we'll discuss ways to maybe try to eyeball it when you're walking around a casino, because there's different aspects of this, and we're planning on doing a couple more ones, bankroll management. And if you're going into a casino with a low bankroll, you probably want to play lower volatility machines. So we're going to talk more about maybe what you see and things like that, so you can try to eyeball it as you're walking around. But back to the RTP side, we hear these numbers, like you said, 90%. You
Right.
know, if I put in $100, I should get $96 or $90 back.
Right.
But that's not necessarily true, right?
No, no, for sure. That it's calculated over millions of spins. It's not calculated over your 100 spins or 200 or 10,000, and that's what makes short-term success not really relying a whole lot on RTP. When you're looking at, especially a 1, 2, 3% difference, you're realistically never going to see that. 10%, a little bit, but not much in such short-term gambling. Over the life, yeah, you want to play higher RTP, but for your single trip, it's not going to be a factor at all. So, just like volatility, our RTP is not always the biggest factor when you're talking short-term versus long-term success.
Yeah, I sort of look at it as, RTP is a defined in the machine. It's a setting in the machine, and casinos can't just change it at will. I mean, they basically have to change out a chipset if they want to change it. But for me personally, I sort of look at it. If I stick $20 in a machine and I walk away with zero, my RTP was zero.
Yeah, that's very
That's
true.
a joke.
Yep.
If I put in 20 and I leave with 100, my RTP was 400%.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. Enjoy
Yeah.
those.
But yeah, and yeah, an RTP in terms of this is very different than volatility because RTP, like you said, is calculated over millions and millions of spins,
Right.
where volatility is more of a short-term feel on the machine. It really has no impact on RTP, but a low volatility machine, it should give you the feel that you can play it a little bit longer. Let's say on that $20
Yes.
than a high volatility machine, even if they have the same RTP.
Oh,
And
100%.
because it's just the way they're designed and geared, whether they're designed to give the bigger payouts less frequently or the smaller payouts more frequently. So the volatility is what you sort of notice in the moment. The RTP is what happens over, years.
Right. Especially when you're talking
Yeah.
about one machine.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Sort of like I said, you might stick $20 in at 50 cents a spin on a double diamond, you might be able to play a while because you keep hitting cherries,
Yes. Yes.
right? Where if you go to, a Huff and Puff, I forgot what the minimum bet is on the original Huff and Puff. It's 50 or 60 cents, something like that.
Right.
And you might not hit anything, but then you hit the bonus, and maybe that bonus pays you back 40, 60, $80. That 40, $50 bonus might happen a little more frequently than a 40 or $80 hit on double diamond
Yep.
because it's not paying out all the small hits all the time.
Right.
But you're not getting anything trying to get to the bonus. So you might run out of bankroll before you get to the bonus, which sort of leads into, how this impacts bankroll. And how does RTP in your mind affect your bankroll?
Well, not much, to be honest. RTP is very, very minimal in your bankroll because it doesn't. When you're traveling for one session or one trip, you're not really affected by RTP. It's over the millions of spins, so it's not doing anything. Um, it's not going to be a factor.
Yeah. Yeah. If it is, it's very minimal. It's
Hmm.
nothing you'll notice. But yeah, and I agree with that. Where, when it comes to the volatility of a slot machine, you can notice it within a sitting at a machine or a day or something like that.
Oh,
Because if
when
you're constantly playing low volatility machines, you can make money last longer as a general rule.
when we would
I
go
mean,
to
not
Vegas, I mean, think about it. I would sit on certain machines for hours. Why?
wild cherry.
Yeah, wild cherry. Why? Because it kept just hitting. It would just keep hitting. I wouldn't lose a lot. I'd lose some, but when I'd go some of them where I was trying to hit a big hit, yeah, I might sit there for hours, but my bankroll was dropping like crazy and praying I hit so I would get some of that money back. And if I didn't, then my trip was not going to be as fun as it could be. So yeah, I used to choose. low volatility machines all the time on purpose, and that was just to keep playing longer.
Yeah, and I did in a sense too, because what did I used to play quite a bit when we went to Vegas, and I played it a lot in our last trip to Vegas. Video poker.
Oh yes, yeah. I honestly I
Video
didn't even think
poker,
about that, but yeah, you played a ton of video, and I did too. But you just seem to have a lot more luck than me.
but yeah, video poker can generally extend a bankroll because it has two factors involved. One, it has lower volatility unless you start getting into things like triple double, you know, and things like that. But if you're a jacks or better, bonus poker, deuces wild, they tend to have lower volatility than a regular slot machine, and they generally have a higher return to player. Some video poker machines can have a return to player upwards of 100% with perfect play.
Yeah, there was
And
the
if
one I think 100.5 or 101%.
yeah,
That's been a
yeah,
while since
jacks
I
are
heard
better.
about that.
Yeah, jacks are better if you have the right pay table. It can pay over 100% on RTP over the life of the machine if it's always got perfect play attached to it.
Which
Now,
doesn't
you
happen.
won't notice that in one setting.
Right.
And one thing I will mention, if anyone's got an interest in video poker and learning about it, and this is not a sponsor, so we don't have any links or anything to where we get a cut, but there's a site called videopoker.com. You can play video poker for free, and it's the actual IGT machines that are in casinos. So you can play them, and they actually show on there what the expected pay table should be. And if you learn those pay tables, you can walk up to a video poker machine and see if it's got a good payback percentage or not. So, like on jacks or better, if you see the full house at 9 and the flush at 6, and I believe the straight at 5, that's a high payback machine. Where if it's at 8, 5, and 4, you lose about 4 or 5 percentage points on the payback. Now, granted, you won't notice that over 20 or $30, but if you played it over thousands and thousands of hands, it will affect your bankroll
Right.
because it changes your volatility a little bit because you're not getting the same return on the hands you do win.
Yeah, especially over several years of playing the same machine, then you would
Yes,
really see it.
yeah,
All
but
right.
even in thousands of hands on video poker, because how many flushes and straights would you hit
Oh,
that
a
you're getting
ton.
the
Yeah.
one extra less on the return on the
Yeah.
bet?
4 and 5% over thousands of hands of video poker would come into play. No question.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, so it does matter. And and some of this stuff we're talking about with the volatility goes into this win frequency. So, as you're more talking about the return to player side, what is how does the return to player affect your win frequency?
well, it can obviously. The one thing I wanted to mention, it was kind of you had kind of touched it, was the all RTP is set on the machine itself, and the casino says the manufacturer has normally 4, 5, 6 different options for the return to player percentage, and the casino sets it. There are actually certain games the casino can't change it at all. That it's got a massive, area wide progressive, and it is just put in there, and then the casino it's set. The casino can't change it. So whatever the return to player is that is set, that's what it is. And then obviously, fits state laws in that case. But anyway, the once it's set, casino can't change it easily. They can, but it's not like they can flip a switch. Uh, like in Vegas, the Nevada Gaming Commission would have to come out and actually change the setting on the machine to change the RTP, and that can only be done by them. So even the casino can't change it just
Yeah, and
by
I've heard
themselves.
sometimes it requires them to change the chipset in the machine, like physically change the chipset.
I'm
I don't
sure.
know if that's true of all machines, but on some of them, I've heard that they have to physically open the machine
Oh, they have to
and change
physically open
change
it, but not.
change the board
Yeah, I
or
haven't heard
change the
changing.
chipset on the board.
Well, I'm sure that there's tons of stuff that could be, especially when we're talking old school. the current, from what I've gathered from my research, all the current games, anything coming out right now, it's all going to be in the programming of the machine itself. And so it's just you click this RTP percentage versus that, but it is a set. It's not like they could move it 0.1%. They move it based on the pay table and how it will affect the RTP. So
Yeah, and either way, it has to be done at the machine. There's no back room where they
no.
say, "Hey, Joe's playing that machine. Turn the RTP down."
Right. And just to say a little bit more, all of the player cards don't connect to the machine. They connect to the network, but not to the payout on the machine. So it can't affect you. As much as I get frustrated and sometimes go, dang it, I just hit when the player card was out. I know the player card has something to do with it. It really doesn't. But I think it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's more confirmation bias than anything.
100%. 100%. So we've discussed a little bit about volatility and the small hit, big hit. What about how bonuses and different I guess features uh, affect volatility?
Yeah, it's one of those things when you could have a game that has a high bonus or feature regularity, but generally they on a low volatility machine they would be small. So you'd see less return on the bonus than you would on a high volatility machine
Okay.
if you're getting a strong bonus frequency. Now you can, if you have a high volatility machine that hits bonuses fairly regularly, you could get nothing on the bonuses. So a low volatility machine, you generally get something. It just wouldn't be the massive payout like you see some people get where they're betting $1 and win $600. That doesn't happen very often on a
So
low
what I'm
volatility
hearing
machine.
is Buffalo.
Buffalo is a big one because
Yeah.
you can get the 3 coins and you're excited because you got the Buffalo bonus. And if you're playing Buffalo Gold, let's get those 15 Buffalo heads. And
Yes.
then you go through 8 spins, you don't see a Buffalo head, you don't see 2 more coins, and maybe you got a line of 2 Buffaloes one time.
Right. Yeah. We've gotten
And the
buffaloed
reason
so
it
many times.
and the reason it does that is because there are the bonuses where it's going to give you those 15 Buffalo heads, and you got another 20 spins to go because you kept hitting coins,
Oh yeah.
and it's going to be paying out Buffalo pay after Buffalo pay after Buffalo pay, to where even a small bet, $1.50, $2 bet could get you 1,000, 1,500 bucks.
Yeah.
And on a low volatility machine, that type of payout is so rare that it might not happen for a year or two. Where on a high volatility machine, it could, depending on how often it's played, it could happen multiple times a month.
Yeah.
If it gets a lot of play, and Buffaloes generally get a lot of play,
Yeah.
especially Buffalo Gold. People love Buffalo Gold.
Talk to the casino payout people, the ones that pay out the slot machines. Oh yeah, they'll tell you which ones, how often they're paying because they walk out and pay them, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll say, hey, this person, somebody just hit this for $4,000 and was betting $1, and you're sitting back going, how? But it's all
Mm-hmm.
because it can pop at certain times, and you're going, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but the win frequency isn't quite as strong on them on
Right,
those high volatility games.
right.
And there were and going back to your return to player that you've been talking a lot about, return to player can have some impact on this, but again, you're not going to notice it in one session where you're playing a slot machine for 10 minutes.
Right. No, I
You would
mean,
you'd have to play it for years to even notice the difference.
yeah, most of the
So,
time, return to player is not going to affect your game picking. There's going to be certain ones like we talked about, video poker and certain ones with lower volatility, certain ones have higher return to player, and it's better to play those. A higher percentage game, it's better to play, but they're
Yeah,
not
if you knew
always.
what they were.
Well, yeah, sometimes you have no clue. It's you might be able to find the baseline, and you might be able to find the casino's overall numbers, and it can vary. Um,
Yeah, Nevada puts out reports of what the casino did on the return to player,
right.
I believe monthly, at worst quarterly. I forgot what the exact time frame is. So you can see, like let's say you're going to New York, New York. You could look it up and see what their slots paid back, but you can't see what an individual slot paid back.
Okay.
So you can see casino wide that at New York, New York, they paid back whatever the number is. I'm just throwing a number out there. I'm not saying this is what I read yesterday, but let's say in the Nevada Gaming Commission, it shows that they paid back whatever 92.83%. So that's casino wide, but they don't break it down machine to machine.
They do break it down denom though, and I can't
They
tell you
do.
exactly, but you'll see penny breakdown, nickel breakdown, quarter, dollar,
Dime,
$5
I believe,
dime.
I
Yeah,
believe they do dime. They do
yeah,
all of them.
yeah.
But yeah, it was funny. I was looking at one of the reports one time, and one of the casinos on the strip, I forgot which one, the nickel steak had the highest RTP,
Oh, that's crazy.
which was really interesting because you would think it'd be like a $5 or higher machine,
Right.
the
Probably
$5 or
had
higher
one
machine.
really, really big hit.
Yeah, or just several really good hits in a short amount of time on different machines.
Yeah.
But it was interesting, and you know, does that trend line hold? I don't know because I don't go out there all the time, so I don't look at the reports every day or every month. But it is interesting, to if you know, it helps, but
Right.
it still doesn't change volatility.
No,
And
which,
volatility is what you notice when you're sitting at the machine.
right. Yeah.
And when it comes to what style should you play, it's based on the person.
Yes.
I mean, you know, if if you're if you have a lower risk tolerance, you'd like to play a lower volatility machine. You probably want to go find that double diamond or the top dollar or one of the old video slots that you can bet 30 or 60 cents on and get the little wins and keep playing for a while. But if you have the ability to absorb losses, these high volatility machines are the ones where you can get thousands of dollars on relatively modest bets. You don't have to bet
Watch
$500
watch a
for.
few of our videos. We have a couple like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, we hit the one in Vegas, $3 bet was what, $3,300,
Yes.
and then the latest one at Kushada, $2 bet was 38 or $3,900,
Yep.
38.50.
Yeah, that was off the
That's
$2, which we utilized some advantage play on that. We're not going to talk
yeah,
much
well,
about it today, but
yeah,
that
which we'll talk about in the future because it's something that can help you when you're in a casino. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it can help you. So we did want to discuss that a little bit. But
and
yeah, but
here's a little chart that we've got that we set up, kind of describing a little bit of the differences, just kind of the definition, time frame, impact on your bankroll, win frequency, and player preference for RDP and volatility. So I'll leave this up here for a little bit so you can see it. But
and again, the RTP, if you're new to all this, is return to player,
yes, return to
which
player.
is which is basically the casino's house edge. So people who play table games a lot, you may know that, sort of like blackjack with perfect play, using basic strategy with 3 to 2 blackjack and the ability to surrender. I think the house edge is what, 1.5, 2%, something like that.
Yeah, without counting cards.
Yeah, without counting cards. So that's a house edge. Where on slot machines they call it return to player. So if they've got a machine set at 95%, then the house edge is 5% basically.
Right.
So it's a different way to say the same thing
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
versus the way they say it on a table game. Um, so that, and then the volatility again. is just the difference between the higher risk machines and the lower risk machines, to where the lower risk machines can return small pays more often. The higher risk machines return those less often, but can have larger payouts when they do hit,
Yep.
when they do hit the larger hits.
Well,
So,
everybody gets to choose what they want as far as volatility is concerned. Do you want the fun excitement of hitting big, or do you want the steady consistency of winning? And the
we're
same
not necessarily winning, getting wins.
getting wins. Yes. None of it is guaranteed. The casino has the edge 100% of the time. So always go for fun and hope for the best. And hopefully we demonstrate that in our videos because we are having fun most of the time. Mo money might be the secondary one. As much as I really want to like that game, God, I can't stand it right now. So
Well, it doesn't seem to have a high bonus frequency.
you don't think?
I would say it hits on the higher end of this volatility edge we're talking about.
Yes, we'll find out one day. I hope that I can turn one of those $2 or $5 bets into something big. But um,
And what's strange is the spooky link we
yes,
have had a little luck on, and it
yes,
seems less volatile, even though I don't think it is.
I don't either. I don't either. See,
But it just
even
goes to show it's when you show up to the machine, the moment you hit that button,
yes,
what what number stopped, you
and
know.
I'm telling you, as much as I like Kushada, whatever, wherever those mummy machines, they are never hitting ever. I haven't. I'm sure they have. I'm sure. I mean, somebody listening to this could have hit it, but we haven't
Yeah,
seen anybody hitting it.
I think I've seen some big checks from it, but yeah, when I walk by, I don't really see anybody hitting,
Yeah.
so I don't I don't know. But I've seen some videos online where people get absolutely destroyed on it too. So
Yes.
it just may be the way the machine's built.
Yep. Either great or horrible, but
Yeah,
that's volatility. I mean,
that is the
exactly what we're
volatility.
talking about. So,
So I would say that is a very high volatility machine if we're
yes.
talking high volatility. And some of the things you can look at when you're in the casino without really knowing anything about each individual slot. If you see very, very large progressives, 500,000, 600,000, $1 million, things like that, those are generally higher volatility machines because those machines have to be built to be able to pay that $1 million and the casino still turn a profit on the machine.
And those return to player most of the time are going to be lower, especially the area wide progressives.
Yeah, if they're area wide. But there are some casinos that have $1 million in-house jackpots. So
That's true. That is true.
like these new Dragon Links.
Yes.
But if you see a machine, and it's hard to say because some of these progressives you don't know what they start at and where they go. But if you see machines where it looks like the highest payout is $2,500, let's say on a $2 bet, it'll tend to have a lower volatility than a $2 bet that can have a max payout of $25,000.
Tell your you had talked about double diamond versus 10 times pay. Tell that one because that's a really good descriptor.
Yeah, that's a really good thing, or even a 5 times pay because those are more common in casinos still. But a double diamond 2 coin machine. So let's say you're playing a quarter, it's 50-cent bet. The top payout is 1,600 credits. A 5 times pay, the top payout on a 2 credit machine is 5,000 credits. And a 10 times pay, the top payout is 10,000 credits. So these machines have to be built to be able to take in enough coin in to pay those top pays. So since the top pay on a double diamond is much lower than the 10 times pay, generally you're going to get the smaller hits more often or the mid-range hits more often
Even
because it doesn't have to pay out as much when you hit those three doublers.
even in a fantasy world where the return to players 100%, it still would be a huge volatility difference between those three machines.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The 2 times is a much lower volatility than the 5 times pay, and the 5 times pay is a much lower volatility than the 10 times pay.
Yep.
Some of that is off, and some of that happens because your mid-range pays are built to pay less. So, like 2 bars and 3 bars on a double diamond pay more than 2 bars and 3 bars on a 10 times pay.
Right.
So, that's some of the built in volatility difference. But the other volatility difference is what can these big pays hit?
Yep.
So, a 10 times pay might have 5, 6, 8 wins that can exceed 1,600 credits,
Right.
right? Because of the 10 times multiplier. The double diamond, only one pay can get 1,600 credits on a 2 coin bet. It's 2,500 on a 3 coin bet. But we're talking if all of them were 2 coin bets.
Right.
So because that top pay is 1,600 and the 10 times pay has several pays that can exceed 1,600, it's automatically going to be more volatile.
Right.
But if you can handle the risk component of the higher volatility, you can get a big check versus just getting $400.
Yep.
So that's the difference.
Well, I think we've covered it, man.
All right. Well, yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything on some of this that maybe we can try to explain in better detail, if we missed anything here, please let us know below. And also, we're going to be coming out with a Discord where we'd be willing to have more conversations than we can even have on YouTube. So once you see the link for that, as we're able to post it, please sign up for that. And also, we got some big things coming that are only going to be available to Discord members. So we recommend signing up for it quickly.
Yes, we'll
Once
we'll
it's
have
good.
the Discord link in this YouTube on the description.
Oh, okay. So we got it pretty well ready to go now.
Yep, we should be
All
good.
right. All right. Perfect. So yeah. So that if you've stayed this long, watch for what's coming because we think it's going to be real exciting, and it's going to be a promotion. We're going to have a winner and some good times, some fun to be had, and um, and hopefully a lot of money involved.
Yes, yes. I hope, and I hope for the winner.
Yes, yes. So, but we want to thank everyone for watching, and please like this video, comment below, tell us what you think about some of this. If you have any questions, let us know, and please subscribe.
Take care, everybody.